Good evening, everybody. I don't think they're going to miss anything terribly exciting. Should they be tuning in slightly late because we're starting 30 seconds or 20 seconds early. Welcome to this evening's Cabinet meeting. First things first, the necessary bits of housekeeping. The fire evacuation procedures are very simple. There's no fire alarm scheduled, and therefore if the fire alarms sound, please leave the building immediately. The fire exits are located at the rear, which I always assume is this end and the side of this room, but that might be the rear of it. It's very difficult to know which is the rear of this room, actually. Go downstairs and meet in Warren Memorial Park. Just to remind everybody that this meeting is being webcast, and therefore anything that is said will be a matter of record for the future. Could everybody please make sure their mobile phones are turned off, and if you put them to silent and vibrate, make sure they're not left on the tables, otherwise we get vibrating tables. Next thing, apologies for absence. Clearly we have none because we're all here. I think we could welcome Kevin. Is this the first one you've sat in on, Kevin? Well, in your new position, well, welcome, Mr. Jacobs, to the pleasure of joining in the Cabinet meeting. And why not say goodbye to Jess, as it's her last meeting from the press. So goodbye to Jess. I don't know whether the two are connected, that he arrives and you're going, but we shall see. Declarations of interest. Anybody got any declarations of interest? Nope, good. Then the minutes of the Cabinet meeting held on the 29th of September. We've all had a chance to read them. Are we happy that I can sign them after the meeting, which I shall do? In which case, petitions we have none. Urgent items we have none, and just by way of clarity for anybody who's misunderstood it, that the decision to refer back the paper on parks and open spaces will go to the next Cabinet meeting because the agenda for this one had already been published, and therefore that's the reason why it goes on to the next one. So we'll move straight on to item 6, which is the draft built sports facility strategy and draft playing pitch strategy. Trips nimbly off the tongue as a paper. Councillor Mrs. Ostleton to introduce.
Thank you, Leader. In July 2011, the Cabinet approved the Strategic Plan for Sports and Recreation in Basingstoke and Deane from 2012 to 2025, with an overall vision which is an enhanced structure of facilities, a strong network of people that support and participate in sport and recreation activity within local communities, and make the most of opportunities to achieve outcomes of local district and borough-wide significance. A detached evidence base has been created through audit, consultation and a needs-led analysis of sport and recreation across the borough. And as this is a long-term plan, it must respond to changing needs and priorities. The previous assessment that we had done was in 2007-2008, and we commissioned again in 2014 on the built sports facilities and the playing field pitches. And more of this you can find in Appendix 1. In June 2015, CEP Committee considered the summary findings of the Leisure and Recreational Needs Assessment and supported a number of principles which would inform the strategic approach to facility provision in 2025. In September 2015, the committee again considered a further report setting out the strategic approach based on the agreed principles presented in 2 draft documents, and those are Built Sport Facility Strategy and the Playing Pitch Strategy. Both documents set out proposed actions to deliver the network of sports facilities which will support the Council's ambition to support active, healthy and involved communities and complements the visions and objectives of the overarching strategic plan for sports and recreation. And this also includes the financial requirements. And this report seeks Cabinet's approval to adopt the strategies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, members. Any comments anybody wishes to make? Otherwise, I think it's a very comprehensive document. It covers all the various aspects of it and lays a good foundation for the future. So we're agreed? Yeah. Good. Thank you very much. Then let us move on to really a pair of items linked together. The council plan consultation, followed by the medium-term financial strategy. I will begin by introducing the council plan consultation. We have one speaker who is going to speak to us on both. Ah, which one? Right, so when do you wish to speak is what I meant. Fine. Okay, well in that case I suggest that what I do is introduce the council plan and let Councillor Isaac introduce the other one, and then if you can have a comment, but I'd be very grateful if you wouldn't speak for 8 minutes. Good. Thank you. Right then, let me introduce then the council plan for the period 16 to 20. We brought forward this plan by a year because the previous plan that we had was due to run through until 2016. And the reason for that, I think, quite simply, is that we've managed to make a lot of progress on setting the direction of travel for the council over the coming years during the period of the last plan. That was what we intended to do, that's what we set out to do, and that's what we've been able to achieve during that 3-year period. Such that now I think it's important that we start to move forward from the stage of identifying a direction of travel to laying the actual foundations upon which the borough will be able to develop, not just for the next 4 years, but we are really looking at how it will develop into the 2030s, 40s, in fact into the half century. A lot of very major projects are going to take place during that time. It really will be shaping the way that people will lead their lives in this area during that period. It is therefore a plan which revolves around the quality of life and the life chance expectations that people should reasonably expect to have as being residents of Basingstoke and Deane. Already we find from the research that we do that we have an incredibly high recognition by residents of the quality of their life. 96% of people enjoy living here. It is a far higher level than I think I've ever seen in any other borough anywhere else. But the worst thing that could be would be a cause for complacency. There are always a lot of challenges in the way that we want to move forward, and there will no doubt be plenty of challenges over the period that we're talking about that we haven't yet seen. What we have to make sure is that we have provided robust foundations for the real key elements of what it is that people want to have, which is to have a roof over their heads, to have a job, and to have an environment in which they can live and enjoy themselves and bring up their children to have an enjoyable life for the future. So we are not now just planning for those of us who live here at the moment, but for those who are in school at the moment, but even for those who are not yet born. And that's what this plan seeks to lay out, the necessary key elements to put those building blocks in place to ensure that those who are here in 2050, and I can't claim to be one of them, or very unlikely to be one of them, unless medical science advances rather faster than I think it's going to, those people will have the same pleasure out of being here that we all take at the moment. So that is the plan. I'm not going to go through it in detail because it's clearly there for everybody to read and to consider. Let us then move on to the immediate short-term view, having gone from now up until 2050, to look at where we're going to be over 2016 to 2020, but more specifically where we're going to be in 2017 on the financial forecast. Over to Councillor Isaac.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, the paper covers the budget for 2016-17 and the medium-term financial strategy through to 2019-20. And the paper continues to demonstrate that we have resilient and sound finances as a borough, which is going to be very important in order to achieve some of the improvements and the investment that the leader has referred to that we are planning through the council plan. As we all know, there are many uncertainties clouding the horizon at the moment in relation to local government finance. Not only are we continuing to operate in a period of low interest rates, but there's a great deal of uncertainty about the funding that we're going to get from central government. In particular, the announcements that we can expect the Chancellor to make in the local government funding settlement for 2016-17, which is due out in December of this year. In particular, the areas that we need to be alive to are the revenue support grant. We're forecasting here that that will be 1.5 million in 16-17, which is down 31% on the previous year. There may be changes that occur in relation to the payments we receive from the new homes bonus, and also we wait to hear what exactly will be decided for in terms of business rates. So a key feature of this of the budget proposal is that we've taken a precautionary step of proposing an option of increasing council tax by £2 per annum per household, Band D. Now clearly we are a low tax council and we prefer not to increase council taxes, but I think given the uncertainties from central government, we need to continue to be prudent. Other features of the report are efficiency savings. We're looking to drive out another £3.4 million worth of savings through to 2019-2020, and that's on top of the 7.7 million savings that we've been able to squeeze out over the last 5 years. We're looking to achieve more income from our investments, and we're proposing to divert more of the new homes bonus from 20% to 25% to our revenues. It is worth pointing out, however, that we are forecasting an ongoing deficit. The annual budget will increase, that's pay and inflation, by at least 600,000 a year, and that's 600 in excess of the likely growth in income, council tax, rents. So this is something that we need to be very alert to, and that's why it's proposed in this paper that we will make use of reserves to the tune of £1.2 million. But I'm pleased that with this continued careful management, we're able to continue to fund the important services for our residents, not least meeting the cost of disabled facilities, which the cost of which has increased from £450,000 last year to £776 in 16-17, and it's forecast to be up to 1.45 million by 1920. So in the context of very difficult circumstances, I would like to recommend this report to Cabinet.
Thank you very much indeed. Councillor Harvey, do you want to come and speak to us? Right, So, as you know, you have 4 minutes. Please don't fall off the chair.
Are you okay? Thank you, Leader. I'm off as well now. I will try and not use up all the 4 minutes. First of all, we recognise that both papers are the beginning of the consultation period on these, and tonight's comments relate specifically to the LIV proposals that are on page 131 of the document in front of us, the MTFS paper D. So thank you, Leader, for giving me the opportunity to address Cabinet tonight. We've listened to local residents and are investing in addressing the priorities of communities where new housing has been built. We have decided to allocate the majority of new homes bonus received to improving infrastructure, of which half will be spent through the local infrastructure fund. We are keen for communities that provided more homes to get the funding they need to ensure that their local infrastructure isn't overstretched. Those were the words of the then Deputy Leader of the Council made less than 2 years ago, when the local infrastructure fund was announced. So what's happened in between, or the 20 or so months since that statement was given to the press, that has meant that you no longer want to give local communities the money they're entitled to in order to improve the local infrastructure? What's happened that's made you go from allocating 40% of the new homes bonus to local communities to just 5%, as in this paper? Communities like mine in Oakridge and others such as Popley or Brookvale, Rookstown, Chinham, Hatchwarren, Kentshott are all going to be financially worse off after this change. What you're proposing is in effect a raid on community funds from the wards that in many cases have taken the pain of new development without the gain. Our position is clear. We believe that a strong link must remain between where new homes bonuses are gained and where houses are built, i.e. that new homes built in a ward should generate new homes bonus money for the benefits of those communities and to mitigate the impact on those communities. We also believe that wherever possible, ward-based new homes bonus money should be used for regeneration schemes as part of neighbourhood renewal programmes within those wards so that we get the maximum from the money, not small-scale one-off schemes, but long-lasting infrastructure changes that genuinely make a difference to those particular communities. And that's the way forward we'd like to see for new homes bonus in the wards that we represent, recognising that other people have other priorities in their wards. But for example, the ERS budget nowhere meets the needs of regeneration or our regeneration aspirations, and for us that isn't good enough. So in speaking tonight at the beginning of your consultation process, we want you to know how strongly we feel about this particular point as a starting point for consultation on these two documents.
Thank you, Councillor Harvey. First of all, Councillor Isaac, do you wish to respond on that, or would you like your colleague to respond?
Well, shall I start and then yeah. Well, so acknowledge the point you make, Councillor Harvey, and this is certainly not a raid on community wards, and we wish to maintain a strong link between new homes bonus and where housing is built. I think the points I'd make is that there is an issue that a lot of this money that has been allocated so far to the LIF has not been used up, but the money that has been allocated, I think, will be ring-fenced, and that's the proposal that Councillor Tate will explain more about. The other issue, of course, the other point I'd make is, of course, that we're not taking this away. What we're going to do with this money is going to remain available to be invested in infrastructure in the borough, and I think this is going to be a more effective way of making sure that the investments that I know you want to see in places like Manydown can be enabled and can take place quicker, because we're making use of that new homes bonus better, I think, but through what we're proposing here.
Councillor Tate, do you want to?
Yeah, Leader, if I may just add a couple of comments. Just to clarify, the existing budgets are in the proposal that was put before committee to be ring-fenced for the current wards for a period of 3 years, and that that would be very much trying to make sure that the current bonus in the current system, as it's been allocated, is used by the wards in the current system. And the future system, which is under design, and it's something which will be coming out to discuss by January, which was the commitment we gave at the last committee meeting, was again to build a system which clearly on future allocations shows that there is a weighting in favour of a ward which has had development within its boundaries. So I think it's unfair to say that there is a raid. It is a change for the future, and we're not walking away from the relationships that the wards have with their budgets based on the current system. It is true that after this current round also that there is a proposal that of the balance of the budget, 20% would be brought back to the new LIFT fund to ensure that in the future, because we don't know yet what's happening with the bonus, there is a reasonable budget available for the development of local infrastructure.
Anybody else? You're not allowed supplementaries anymore, if you remember, under the. But I will. I think you were one of the ones who agreed to that, actually, if I remember correctly. Okay, I think the issue over this is a strange one. It's not a right, it's not an entitlement, it was a decision that was made, and it was made honestly to try and get the right sort of balance. In the reality, what's happened is that people just have not spent the money. It is foolish to keep money sitting in an account doing nothing on the off chance that somebody may get round to spending it in the future. We do recognise that there are some communities who have been working hard at trying to bring forward plans for the future. That's why the existing funds will be ring-fenced. There will be plenty of opportunity for them to bring forward additional applications under the LIFT fund to supplement those existing funds with other grants to make sure that there are enough funds around for those projects to move forward when there is the right time for them to do that. What is clear, I think, is that we don't know what the future of New Homes Bonus is likely to be. I suspect there won't be any in the very near future. It will be wrapped up in the total refinancing of local government that we are likely to see over the coming years. Nevertheless, within the council plan, there is a very strong commitment, not just to growth and to expansion, but also to regeneration of what we have at the moment. But we have to be realistic and say that those are large projects which would in any event have been likely to have been outside the scope of what that part of the LIFT budget would have been able to do, and will have to be financed separately. That doesn't mean to say that we are not going to finance them. Part of the money will be in these funds. Part of the money we will have to find through working together with our partners to lever in additional funding, because the sorts of problems that we need to tackle really do run into millions. And if we're going to be successful in tackling them in the areas where we have managed to bring forward regeneration schemes, I think everybody would agree that they've been successful and they have improved the lives of the people that live there. I would like to see more of that happening, but we have to have active partners willing to engage on that, and we have been working very hard. Councillor Reid in particular has been working very hard to try and bring them to the table to become active in that particular area. And I think I'm hopeful that we will see some movement in that area later on. And that's all I'm going to say, because I'm just running out of any voice to say anything, if I may. Thank you very much. So, as was said by Councillor Harvey, he recognised that these were papers for consultation, and that's exactly what they are not finalised at this stage. It's what exactly they are going out, both of them, to seek people's views. In particular, I think we should emphasise that it is a genuine consultation on the council tax element of it. It was, I think, maybe misunderstood in the past that we are proposing a 2% increase. We are not. All we are simply saying is that there is a possibility that the council tax could be anything from 0 to 2%. and we are asking people's views as to where they think would be the most appropriate for that to be, given the other pressures within the budget that are clear from it, and all the information necessary for people to make that decision are there. But I just want to get that absolutely clear, because I have been reported as saying the council tax is going up by 2% in various places. I've actually never said that. I've said that we are looking at the options, because quite frankly we don't have the information on which to make any decision at this moment in time, and frankly neither does any other council in the country either. So are we happy?
Yes.
Good. Then those will go out for consultation over the next 6 to 8 weeks, and that, I believe, is the end of this evening's meeting. Thank you all very much indeed. My voice did just last out. Good night.